It is now 6:30. We're going to call this regular meeting of the Chavano Park City Council to order. Maggie Couch will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and I will lead us in the invocation. If you all please stand. And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible. Father God, you are the creator of all good things, and in you is only light. You are ever present, all knowing, and all powerful. You know each of us so intimately that no thought, word, or deed goes unnoticed. It is only by you that each day's needs are met. You guide us to seek and think only whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable. And yet, despite your call to that which is excellent and praiseworthy, your people scamper to the shadows and into darkness and seek division and foment animosity, hatred, and violence. The Spirit tells us stop. And even when we might find harmony in you and with our neighbors, we prepare to war with our neighbors as we turn from your peace. For in our eyes, we see those with differing opinions as evil and holding untrue opinions. This day, may you open our eyes to your light. May we share your light with all, and may your light lead us today and each day that follows. Father, we ask that untrue opinions be cleansed by your light, that threatening language from evil lips be muted, and that your harmony be embraced. Please guide us in each matter before the council this evening. Please share with the many public servants here this evening your patience, wisdom, and judgment. And may our thoughts, words, and deeds be only those that you would have us pursue. Please continue to protect, preserve, and prosper our community, state, and nation. Amen. There being no citizens to be heard, brings us to item number 4, council member comments. Buddy.
Oh, welcome everyone. Good to see everybody.
Maggie? If you could get your mic on.
Good evening, everyone. Oh, now that's it. Thanks for coming. Glad you're here.
Conrad?
In that order.
Good to see everyone.
Pete?
Yeah, so welcome everyone. And as we go into April, one of the things that the mayor will do is a proclamation for the cardboard kids. And this is really, we celebrate this in April, or we bring it forward in April, because, you know, no kid should be abused and no kid should be neglected. So we do have the cardboard kids, but as I was looking at these cardboard kids, I think there's some that are missing. And so I think we need to make our set complete. So I wanted to add to our cardboard kids to make the set complete. Now, I think one thing that you'll notice is you'll think that those are so much smaller than the other ones. The other ones, the original size or the official size is supposed to be 2 foot. And these pale in comparison to our true heroes. So our true heroes are down below. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pete. And Lee's unable to join us this evening. If you would, keep Lee in your prayers. Brings us to item number 5, presentations, commentations, and announcements. 5.1. Pete, why don't you read that one? Because you did such a fine job at the beginning. Okay. Presentation of the 2026 Cardboard Kids and a proclamation that April 2026 is the Child Abuse Prevention Month in Chavano Park, Texas. And we urge all of our citizens to work together to help reduce child abuse significantly in years to come. Today, we have a very special guest to tell us about those honored children who have joined us today. And Ms. Brenda, could you come down and tell us about the family members?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So the City of Chavano Park participates in the Cardboard Kids program, which is Child Safe's public awareness initiative to draw attention to the pervasiveness of child abuse. Each cardboard kid represents one of thousands of abused children in the San Antonio metropolitan area. So please allow me to introduce the City of Chavano Park's 2026 Cardboard Kids. So I'll be going from my left to my right. So Coastal Bill comes from the city manager's office. Coastal Bill is an amazing fisherman who loves spending time with his ever-growing family at the Texas coast. He enjoys sharing good old memories and stories from his Aggie College days while passing on his finely tuned fishing skills to the next generation. The Public Works and Water Departments present Woody. Woody is the toughest cowboy in the whole playroom. He and his ragtag group of friends go on wild adventures to save kiddos and provide them comfort in their time of need. When Woody isn't busy pulling snakes out of his boot, he spends his time rounding up bad guys with all of the other toy friends. The Chavano Park Fire Department presents Firefighter Shane. Firefighter Shane is a well-honed firefighting machine. He was trained by Chavano Park's own fire department and has mastered all rescue techniques. At the sound of the fire alarm, he's ready to jump into action and use those skills to combat any fire emergency or tackle any child abusers in our city and beyond. The Chavano Park Police Department present El Jefe, Gene Fox. We all know El Jefe Gene Fox as the city's chief of police, but did you know about his love for animals? In fact, he likes his four-legged furry and two-legged feathered friends better than 99.5% of the people he knows. I'm not sure if I'm in that 0.5%. I think it depends upon the day and if I brought him a peanut butter treat. So is he looking at me shaking his head right now? Yeah, kind of figured.
It's red.
And the administration department presents Anna. Anna loves plants and everything that has to do with them. Propagating, tending, harvesting, butterfly, bees, you name it, even the caterpillars that munch on the leaves. Anna isn't like most girls her age that are primping and fussing. Anna likes to get down and dirty. So these are this year's Cardboard Kids.
Well, I'm going to ask Pete to come forward and help me present this proclamation to you because he did such a fine job on the city council members. Well, Brenda, thank you so very much for being our dedicated member of the community that takes care of the cardboard kids. You always have fascinating stories to tell us about each one of them. And we want to thank Pete, although I'm thinking that maybe Frank's lovely daughter might have taken some of us home. Yeah, so wouldn't that be nice? But thank you so very much.
Oh, that's hysterical.
Item 5.2, proclamations. Rush Fun Park, Chick-fil-A at the Vineyard, Pop Strokes sponsoring the 2026 Arbor Day Earth Day poster contest. Schultz Nursery and Republic Services sponsored the 2026 Arbor Day Earth Day event. I'm going to ask that that Lance and Danielle come on down for Republic Services and receive a proclamation and a couple of our medals. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's good to see you again. Republic Service, come on, come on, come on, come on. Republic Services is an absolutely amazing partner in Chavano Park. We have worked with you now for about 12 years, I think, the whole time that I've been And on behalf of Chick-fil-A, that favorite place that all children love to go, we've got Brian Garrison here. Brian, if you'd come on down. Brian, we're sorry that you're making your after fiesta, but we hope that your lovely bride will enjoy having our medal next year. This is our 70th anniversary. This is a special medal for us. I think that our wonderful city secretary put this together for us, at least modified it for us. We're very excited to have you all as a part of the Shadow Park team. Your contribution was immensely appreciated. I told the kids about the value of your package and the Rush package and the Pop Stroke package. And it's like, we went from having like 15 posters to 100 and something posters. It's like, oh, yeah, we'll work over the Easter weekend and look at our posters in because we're excited to be a part of it. So thank you so very much. And I know that, was it Martin, was the child's name that received the grand prize? I talked to his mother the other night and she was so excited. So, very good. Good to be with you, Brian. And 5.3, recognition, excellence in performance by Frank. Frank's the man. For Public Works Superintendent for the quarter ending March 31st. Come on down, Bill.
All right, so Frank Urbanek has been with the city of Chavano Park since 2017. I've worked with him. I've had the pleasure of working with him for 3 years now. And before this meeting, I had told him we had a little meeting there in my office, and I was letting him know I'm very proud and happy to work with Frank. All of us are. He comes through in times where not a lot of people really would. He's always at the right place at the right time. He's selfless. He always puts the team first. He's always coming in and asking what could he do for everybody else. He's always trying to make sure everybody else not only is here to take care of their normal duties, but looking to set them up for success in the future. And we're really happy to have you, not only as the employee of the quarter, Frank, but as our new water superintendent and public works superintendent. We wanted you to continue to succeed in the public works department, and we're happy to have you and your family here to receive your reward. Thank you.
Thank you, Johnny, and I just want to say that I could be prouder of Frank coming here a few years back as a water serviceman, promoted to water crew leader, now promoted to superintendent, and I tell you what, he's stepped up and exceeded all expectations every time you made that jump, so I could not be prouder of you. And here's a coin and an appreciation, so let's keep you right here in the middle, and we got you there. And thank you.
The proclamations from today's for Chick-fil-A and for Republic Services will be in the lobby with just as we post proclamations for other people that have been recognized. We really do appreciate them. The Arbor Day gifts that we received, and I'm not including the Schultz Nursery in this and the Republic Services, but the gifts that we received from Rush Fun Pack, Chick-fil-A, and Pop Strokes probably had a value for those children that were competing for posters in the poster contest exceeding $1,000, which when you're thinking about that for Blackman Elementary, those are really great prizes for elementary age children. And I encourage everybody in the community to take your kids by Chick-fil-A. That's always so easy. Pop Strokes, I haven't made it there with my granddaughter yet, but Rush Fun Park is just a wonderful place, and so proud to have them right on the outskirts of Chavano Park. Brings us to item 6.6, our consent agenda. All matters listed under this item are considered routine by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will not be separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired by any alderman on any item, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately at the end of the regular meeting. Do I have a motion to approve items 6.1 through 6.4?
Make a motion to approve?
We have a motion from Buddy. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Maggie. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The motion carries 4-0. Item 7, City Manager's Report. All matters listed under this item are considered routine by the City Council and will only be considered at the request of one or more aldermen. Coincident with these listed item, discussion will generally occur at the end of the regular agenda. Does anybody want to pull any of items 7.1 through 7.6? There being no request, brings us to item number 8, regular agenda items. 8.1, discussion presentation, Planning and Zoning Commission presentation of analysis and report on possible improvements to Cliffside access to Salado Creek Greenway. Kyle, you're going to be recognized today along with Curtis. Bill, if you have anything to add, please do. Who is going to start, Kyle or Curtis? Okay. Kyle, thank you.
All right. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. Thank you for having me here tonight. On behalf of the Planning and Zoning Commission, I'm pleased to present our final report and recommendation for the Cliffside access to Salado Creek Greenway. This process has been defined by a commitment to finding a balanced and resident-driven solution for this long-standing city asset. So to recap, last October, you directed us to conduct a comprehensive review of this specific entry point. Our objective was to evaluate the feasibility of a local access option that prioritizes resident feedback, neighborhood character, and environmental stewardship. So I'll briefly kind of reiterate our scope, and it was not a regional trailhead. There was no consideration or proposal for additional parking, new sidewalks, or anything like that. This project had a very precise, limited scope, and that was improving the single access point that has already existed for over a decade at least. So our P&Z subcommittee worked with an 8-member citizens advisory panel. This group provided a range of perspectives, both opposed to and for the trail. It included those who use the trail regularly, those who live right next to it, and those that live across town, ensuring that our final recommendation reflects a true community consensus. On this map here, you can see that the interest in this project really spanned the entire city. We had applicants for the Citizens Advisory Panel from Painted Post, Wagon Trail, Happy Trail, Bikeway, Benham Heights, not just the streets right around Cliffside. This matters because the argument that the trail connection is a benefit for only those who live nearby it may miss a key point, that this can be a citywide asset, not just a neighborhood amenity. We'll discuss a little bit more later in the presentation, but our survey showed that a majority of respondents said they would use the trail more if it was improved. So this site has been used for this purpose since at least the land swap back in 2012. So for over that decade or more here, the city has kind of semi-maintained this as a point of entry. So we saw our task now as really to move from a dirt path to a connection that reflects the quality of the community overall. And looking at the larger greenway, you can see that this connection really provides a link for our residents. So formalizing this access point really provides residents with a safe, reliable link to miles of regional trails. This could be viewed as a lifestyle kind of infrastructure investment that benefits the connectivity of the entire city. So the specific geography, which many of you are aware of right there on Cliffside, requires that the design be both functional and self-managing. We wanted something that was low maintenance. So we wanted to ensure that this transition goes from a quiet residential street to the public trail being clearly defined and secure all along the way there. Our vision was to improve this to improve the accessibility for both walkers, cyclists, really of all ages and abilities. By formalizing the path, we can actually protect the environment. A single paved path prevents trail creep and erosion that happens with dirt paths, especially in flood-prone areas like the Cliffside Drive over there. It allows us to direct the traffic in a way that minimizes the impact on the sensitive habitat around there. More importantly, this project aligns directly and fulfills the town plan's goal for citywide connectivity. While some may be very comfortable navigating the rugged path there today, our goal was to ensure that this asset is accessible to all residents, including seniors and families with young children. And then lastly, we vetted these options with the city staff. We also engaged an experienced architect who also attended the town hall to come to these recommendations. The recommendations include items such as material, security features, et cetera, and all these were kind of considered and thought through for their technical feasibility, kind of overall compliance and fit with the neighborhood, and long-term sustainability. So with that, I'm going to ask Curtis to take over for the technical part, and then I'll resume a little bit later.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Mayor and Council. And I'm happy to report that you authorized $25,000 in that original motion back in October, and everything you've seen in this report that's in your packet and I'm going to present was done for $6,700. So the current trail today, these are just some photos of the current trail. It's traversable. It's used by some residents. There's been small improvements to it by Boy Scouts, by the Public Works Department, our staff, but it's very rough. It's hewn. It has rocky ledges. It is not easy to traverse, especially if you're elderly, have a stroller, and any mobility difficulties. This is a screenshot from our GIS program. There's a lot on this slide, and I'll just walk everybody through what we're looking at here. So the purple line is a rough estimation of the current path. We just took some GPS points on it. We didn't walk it with GPS, so that's why I say it's a rough approximation. The current path, which is that rocky path I just showed you, is 300 linear feet. It drops from 915 in elevation, 893 for a 22 elevation foot drop. This orange line, which is we're going to focus moving forward, is our proposed route, not the route that people walk today, but this new proposed route. It is 400 feet in length. It drops from 915 to 895 in elevation, 20-foot elevation. Already you should be able to tell with 100 extra feet and 2 less elevation drop, this is a much more gradual and smoother walk, as you'll see in the video and everything. This red is our property, the city's 1.8 acres that we just showed you. The green is nearby just residential properties. These yellow lines moving across with the blue markers, those are contour lines, and each of them have an elevation on them. That's where I got those numbers from. The proposed trail has a 30-foot offset from the corner of 128 Cliffside. It avoids the drainage area, which is to this path actually crosses the drainage area. You can see the contour lines get kind of crazy over there because the rapid descent into lows, those are those rock shelves as you walk if you take that current path. There is a lot of water that flows through there. It avoids that and goes on a much more smoother path. Overall, we start off and we have the most grade challenges here at the start. We have a 12%, 5, 11. We are aiming for a 5% overall, but quickly you see as we get into it, 8 and 3 and 5 and 6. For most of the path, we are at 4 or 5%, which is where we want. In your packet, and what was presented to the public on March 18th at Town Hall, was an option A, B, and C. That's what, when we were working with the planning and zoning, we kind of boiled down. Of course, you could think iterations of those options within, but they were simply a 10-foot concrete shared use path. That is the current width of the Salado Creek, so a 10-foot. 6-foot concrete sidewalk, and then a 6-foot nature path, loose gravel, something very similar to what we have here on the municipal tract. As you can tell, there's not a lot of schematic differences between these three routes because this pathway is the path of least resistance overall that we marked. There's not a big challenge. You have to change your path if you move from a 10-foot to a 6-foot. These have detailed schematics on what the concrete will be. It is 4-inch concrete, 6 inches on the edges in order to resist water flow as it's moving slope down the hill from 128 Cliffside, 200 Cliffside, downhill towards the Salado. And you have a 3-foot clearance on either side. That's why you'll see a 10-foot, if it was a 10-foot path, it'd have to have a 16-foot clearing for constructability. The only major change is noticeable here on the nature path is we moved to a rock shelf, because if you have loose gravel, you can easily install it on a rock shelf. That's even superior than going over dirt for erosion control. But you can't do that very easily with this concrete because you have to prep the subgrade in order to lay your concrete. And so we actually want to avoid that rock shelf. If we were to do a loose gravel, we move it a little further away and we take advantage of that rock shelf, which you'll see in a video of me walking it. The best news of the engineers' work and coordination with them is that if you're aware of Inwood and their subdivision entrance, it has a winding, circuitous 6-foot sidewalk path in order to get down to the Salado from their subdivision on the other side. That's at Residential Neighborhood and HOA. And it has all these limestone, they're called butter blocks. Those were done in replacement of railings. But for ADA, when you have the slope and you have these turns, you have to provide some sort of safety. And that's what those are the limestone butter blocks do. We do not have to do that with this project. None of these options, A, B, or C, we have to do switchbacks. We can do a smooth grade, maintaining 5, in some areas maybe 8%, you're allowed that, the whole path. And that's basically a combination of push and pull. The contractors will, in higher grade areas, will excavate it down. In areas that are up, they can build it up, and they can meet that 5%. We even walked this with somebody in the actual construction company, not engineer, and this path is a path that he would take. There's always challenges with construction, but not a severe challenge with the constructability of this. This is a 3.5-minute video of me walking the path. I am standing, looking on Cliffside. There's a concrete pad that was installed by our contractor when we redid the roads, because there's a lot of water that runs that way, and it's a reinforcer to stop soil erosion. That's when I'm just standing, there's some signs. Where we're going to propose to enter in is about right here. You have some nice oaks. We'd want to maybe be between that. You could imagine a 6-foot path. Right now there's a barbed wire fence. So I'm going to walk towards the current entrance. I'll walk down about 15 feet or so, and now we're at the current entrance that's today. And this is a fairly steep grade that you initially are on. I step to the side because where we're proposing coming in is on the side of that. We're catching a smoother grade, and then we're going to hit this path, and we are maintaining a much smoother grade and avoiding that initial descent down. So our proposal actually goes on the current trail today here for 50 or so feet. So the trail today veers off and heads towards the low, and it gets getting towards those rock ledges and much more descent. We continue straight on. We're staying on this relatively smooth grade. And as you can see, all these are cedar trees. There are not any beautiful oaks that we're going to run into doing on this path. We're 30 foot from the corner of 128 Cliffside. This is the rock shelf to the south, downhill of me. That's where the gravel path could be on, but we need to be on this. And after this, it's a fairly uneventful walk we're going to go through for the next minute. Even before we've done cutting down, clearing, smoothing, it's pretty easy to traverse the natural contour of the land. I'm able to pick up pace as I'm walking through it. I'm running into a lot less obstructions. This current path has been hewn a little bit, I think by probably mountain bikers and some other people maybe have taken this. We've done some really basic cutting away some of the branches on it. And then just the orange markers, which should still be out there, you could walk this. So I'm at a steady 5% descending down. Easy to traverse even today. You could see this lot in the distance, but we keep on this nice gradual sloped descending. And then I'm going to turn here, and we start actually heading towards the Salado. So all this rock and debris built up between the Salado behind it, that is backfill from the construction of Salado Creek. So that's loose material that would be easy to excavate all that out. It takes me a minute to get over it. And then we reach the Salado. We are still on city property. And this shows the importance of, we'll need to cut some of that back to provide clear line of sight. Just even stand there, bicyclists come around. So that was only 3 minutes and 34 seconds, and that was slowed down. Even on the trail today, it's fairly easy to traverse. So one thing we wanted to prepare for the March 18 town hall was visuals for the public. So everything I'm going to show you, that video and this, these renderings, AI renderings, which are used with ChatGPT, we're trying to provide a visual for what this could look like if it was ever constructed. So I'm standing, in this photo, I'm standing on that concrete pad. If you remember the video, we started, and I'm looking towards those signs and the entrance, and I asked ChatGPT, now I'm standing with my back to that concrete pad and those signs, looking towards the entrance. What could the entrance possibly look like? And this is a limestone and wrought iron gate renderings. And then there's just a 8-plane wrought iron rendering. I don't think this is ChatGPT's best result. It's a little bit of extreme how it remodels it. You can see how it matches the road pretty well, and it keeps some of those nice oaks there, because I told it to remove underbrush but keep oaks. So it did a pretty good job. But maybe that would be a little bit too much clearing. But it gives you an idea of what that possibly could look like as it comes from the road. Here's a photo of the cliffside bend towards 128. We're past looking those signs. I asked ChatGPT to do a wrought iron fence offset from the road. This is, I think, really good representation. We wouldn't want it right next to the road. We want it so that if there's a car coming around the bend, that there's space for it to get off the road, someone to get out of its way. So we would set this back. If you're standing out there, we think we even put it behind some of those oak trees. We don't even have it in front of some of the oak trees. So we might even have some trees between the road and the actual fence. But when we were working with the planning and zoning, we came to wrought iron because both properties nearby, 128 and 200 Cliffside, have wrought iron fences, so a wrought iron fence would really match the neighborhood aesthetics, we thought. Offset from the road, again, trying to reduce its curbside visibility. I will mention for a gate, if we were to do a gate and provide power, it's only 90 feet from the nearest power pole. And the fence that's in the proposal is only 300 feet. We're going from the corner of 128 Cliffside roughly to the cliff of Cliffside as it starts to go up, because the topo gets so challenging very rapidly as you start going up that hill. A deer might be able to traverse it, but a robber with a backpack, no, that's not practical. He might need some rock climbing gear. So it's only 300 feet of fence, roughly, that is in this proposal. All right, so this is a picture. I'm looking up towards 128 Cliffside, the corner, and ChatGPT asked it to do a light brown 6-foot concrete path, what that could look like in that area. We would have some of these trees around it trimmed back a little further for safety for bicyclists and such like that. But in our Citizen Advisory Panel and with the Planning and Zoning Subcommittee, all these renderings are light brown concrete. That is a direct thing that came from them and their ideas to provide a more natural looking path, no harsh white concrete. In the cost proposals that we'll go over, everything we're showing you is in that. Light brown concrete, brushed finish with rock salt. Those were great ideas that came to help bicyclists in wet conditions have grip their tires. Here's where we're in the forest and it starts to really even out. Asked ChatGPT to do a 6-foot concrete light brown path. Asked it to put a bicyclist and a walker on it so you can get rough dimensions. A 6 foot, you can just imagine 2 people can pass. And then 10 foot, this is what the Salado is. 10-foot wide concrete path. I thought that was a pretty good visualization between what the 6 and 10 foot might look like if you were out there on it. This is just another rendering on the forest floor. I thought this one was really good because it shows meandering concrete path, because especially with the 6 foot, it's much more practical that we could actually meander this, avoid trees, and have a more pleasant walking experience while you're on it to go amongst the trees. This last rendering, we're looking down Cliffside, Salado Creek, and we're showing how we could connect into it. We wouldn't want to terminate right at the informational box. That's not very good from ChatGPT, but this does show visually how we could have a nice smooth connection. It's not a T. We could actually smooth in. Someone with a bike could smoothly connect. And I think this also shows importance, again, that we clear some of that foliage back so that people have clear line of sights for safety. Another good idea that came from the Citizen Advisory Panel we're working on this is that if we restrict it to residents, we could put a sign there to say no public access. So people would know on the Salado that what this path is, they can't exit out of it. So the security and access control part of this project, the Planning and Zoning and the Citizen Advisory Panel consensus is to install a gate and a fence to secure the trail access. Today, there is no gate, no fence, there's nothing securing it. A gate and a fence enables the city's ability to restrict access to Shavano Park residents, which was supported in the town hall, pending legal guidance, of course. There's also options we could charge fees to non-residents. And of course, final gate and security systems, that's to be decided. Those details are not in this report to the council. But a key fob, intuitively, just in our discussions, has many advantages over a keypad, over keys, other traditional more lock systems, something manual, all these things you could think of. On aesthetics and environment, that was a focus of the Planning and Zoning and the Citizen Advisory Panel as well, and their consensus is that the fence and the gate should aesthetically match the neighborhood. That's where wrought iron came to consensus. Be 6 foot high, setback from the road, reduce down the curb appearance of this new fence, and that the fence be made wildlife friendly as possible. Low ground passages in certain areas, no spikes top of the railings. We don't want a deer attempting to jump over and impale itself. I've told residents, I'm not an expert on fence design. As we get into dealing with contractors, they might have other ideas how we can make it more accessible to certain wildlife. But already those two things we think would immediately make it better for wildlife. So the costs, you have detailed cost estimates in your packet. The summary of it is option A with the 10-foot concrete trail is $180,000 for the trail, $250,000 for the gate and fence. Option B, the 6-foot concrete trail, is $125,000 trail for $170,000 for if you add on the gate and fence. Option C, it's a 6-foot loose gravel trail, $70,000 for the trail, and $115,000 for the gate and fence. And you see the breakdown there of where those gate and fence numbers coming from, $32,500 for the fence, $11,000 for the gate with access control. These numbers actually came from ChatGPT, but they were reviewed by Mr. Brian Medican and Mr. Bill Thorpe, who have extensive construction knowledge and experience, and they made a lot of tweaks to it from what came from ChatGPT. So, and when we ran by a contractor, the number actually came in fairly close. So we're pretty confident about these, actually. And then With long-term maintenance considerations, concrete is a more upfront cost, minimal long-term maintenance. A loose gravel, it is cheaper to construct, but it will be continuance maintenance cost. There is water that flows downhill in that area. Anything loose material would be eroded. A concrete, especially with the design of the extra enforcers on the side, much more, it would be a lot less of a burden to our public works to maintain it after it's built. This QR code is not live, but in the town hall on the March 18th, the last part of this presentation, Chairman Horland will present. But we put up a QR code and we asked everybody to fill out a survey. And in that survey, everything is going to run through. We had 62 attendees total that we counted. 42 did online surveys. We had 4 comment cards we'll show you, and I have 2 pages of notes of interactions with residents. So,
Thank you. So, to kind of continue here, so one of the clear directives that you gave us in the request to do the study was to incorporate citizen feedback. And the town hall was the key element of that. And so as Curtis mentioned, we had a live survey at the end of that, and we had a breakout session with question and answer, and we collected the comment cards as well for those who didn't want to necessarily do the digital survey on their phones. So we got a very clear mandate from what we received there. It was very clear that the residents really wanted to see some improvement, but they didn't want everything. They really chose a middle ground that prioritized security and quality there. So what we saw here is that option B emerged as the clear favorite. It was supported by nearly 55% of the respondents, and while only a small handful of people suggested leaving the site as is. The vast majority, over 90%, selected some sort of improvement for the trail, making a very clear mandate as far as this project is concerned. The next question we asked was about how they would use the trail, and this one is very important. So over 64% said that they would use the trail more if it were improved. This suggested to us that there is a latent demand, suggesting that many residents may find that the natural trail currently is maybe too difficult or too uninviting. Here there was a very strong 88% preference for concrete as a key data point. So as Curtis mentioned, we proposed a light brown concrete that would blend in with the natural environment. But beyond the ease of walking, concrete can be seen as a matter of fiscal responsibility. In a flood zone there, the gravel or dirt paths are likely to wash away, leading to constant maintenance and calls for repairs. The concrete should be a durable, kind of one and done investment that handles the local drainage and soil conditions far better. We also heard that bigger is not better. 74% of the residents that responded felt that the 6-foot kind of sidewalk pedestrian path was sufficient. This avoids the larger and maybe environmental impact of the 10-foot shared use path, while providing enough space for residents to maneuver safely and comfortably past each other, especially given the projected kind of traffic that would occur on this very small stretch there in the neighborhood. And then security was a priority for 70% of the residents. There have been questions about why a gate is necessary if the area has been open for years, and the answer really came from the community here, and that is that they want managed access. A gate serves as a deterrent to unauthorized use and ensure that the trail remains a quiet neighborhood amenity. Similarly, 81% of people said they supported a wrought iron fence. It's not necessarily about blocking people, it's really about defining the space. It signals that it's a maintained City of Chavano Park entry, which helps discourage kind of wandering and cut through traffic, which can be bad for the erosion there. We also looked at specific design features, as Curtis mentioned, to make this as low impact as possible, such as building the fence back into the natural tree line to blend in with the landscape and improve aesthetics. And then prioritizing wildlife-friendly design related to the height and the ground clearance of the fence, as well as ensuring no sharp points and things like that. And then finally, because the fence is only in the immediate vicinity, we don't really see this as a major impediment to wildlife, as they can easily circumnavigate kind of around the fence there. On the subject of access, 62% of respondents asked us to look into resident-only access. Utilizing these kind of modern access controls isn't really about tracking residents or anything like that, It's about ensuring that an amenity paid for by Chavano Park remains for the benefit of residents of Chavano Park, really. It's the same philosophy used on other facilities and access points along the trail there. These written comment cards, we did receive 4 of them. They all echo the exact same sentiment as the electronic survey, with all 4 residents that chose to use the comment card in support of the 6-foot concrete trail with fence and access control. So in conclusion, after careful study and listening to the community, the P&Z committee unanimously advanced a motion to recommend that City Council consider option B for $170,000. It was viewed as the most responsible choice. It matches the 88% preference for concrete and the 74% preference for the 6-foot width. It provides security features that the residents demanded with a design that is both respectful to the neighbors and the local wildlife. We believe that it can be the right choice to finalize the city asset and build more than just a path, but actually turn a kind of a decade-old transition point into a nice citywide amenity, protecting the environment and honoring the preference of the majority of the citizens. Any questions?
Thank you, Kyle. Bill, do you have anything to add before we turn it over to council for questions? This is not an action item this evening. This is a presentation and discussion. We'll open this up without a motion, without objection. Does anybody have any questions? I know that I think everybody made it to the town hall, and so Kyle, y'all did a really fine job at the town hall. Want to commend you for having the breakouts that everybody got to go to, gave them an opportunity to ask real questions and not be limited by time and space, and could go to the engineer, could go to the members of the committee, could go to the city staff. So that was a great deal. Maggie?
Well, I want to, first of all, thank all of you and the committee for the wonderful work you did on putting this together. This is kind of what our city's all about. We look it over carefully. One of the citizens had a question about protection for the wildlife, and I think it was about maybe the fencing. I saw the barbed wire fencing, and I saw the wrought iron fencing, and I'm not sure, will the barbed wire fencing stay in place? Does that protect people from going over the cliff? Or how much exactly, and you said it would be, I think, more toward the entrance or exit here on Cliffside. How much will the wrought iron fence cover? I mean, it's not the whole trail. So could you just give me some more information on that? I have a concern about the wildlife, and I see the structure. You have looked at that. Wildlife friendly, we hope. Just give me more information on the fencing.
So you are correct, Ms. Alderman Couts, that yes, there's a barbed wire fence out there. I think it runs all the way up to the actual cliff, if I'm not mistaken. It runs more than what we're proposing replacing. We're not proposing to replace the entire span of barbed wire fence. In the areas where there is barbed wire fence in that 300 foot, basically till you get to that where it starts really descending quickly and the grade really picks up, that's 300 feet. But yes, we would get rid of the barbed wire fence that exists.
You will get rid of it?
Yes.
Not all of it, Maggie. The barbed wire fence goes all the way to Jesse and Sue Minor's house, which is the first house that's on the east side of the road.
Okay.
So what Curtis is talking about is about 100 yards of fencing, and then it's going to be barbed wire fence because we don't want people going over the cliff.
Okay. But that's already in place.
But
the
that's
barbed
already in
wire,
place, so
and
we're not
that's-
talking about removing that.
Nothing's changed as far as that goes. Okay. All right. And then the wrought iron fence,
A little bit closer, Maggie.
sorry, thank you. The wrought iron fence, tell me a little bit more about what that's going to cover so I can understand it.
The proposal is just for 6 foot high, nothing too extreme. We're trying to match the other already existing fences. We don't want it to stand
Right.
out like a sore thumb. And it would be from roughly the corner of 128, we would have to coordinate, and make sure that the connection is good there.
Okay.
If we go through the expense of putting up a fence and a gate, we want to make sure it does provide some security for the residents, all in that area. If we improve the path and make it much more obvious that this is a access point. And then, we've already identified in areas away from the path, we could put these indentations at the lower level that allow ground creatures to pass back and forth.
Okay.
I don't think a deer could pass through most of those. Maybe young deer could, I'm not sure. But for that, already we identified we do not want to have any spikes on this wrought iron fence, nothing
Right.
to impale a creature. I don't know beyond that. I'm not an expert enough in wrought iron fencing design. Is there some sort of pass through you can make that's for a wild animal but a human couldn't? I don't know those. But when we get to actually working with a contractor and bidding this out, if that is ever done, then we could maybe think of even more things that we could do to make it friendlier to wildlife.
And to just kind of follow in and ask Bill a question, Bill, what is the height of a fence that deer can jump?
Well, 6 feet for sure, but they don't commonly do that, so, and I was in a residence yard who was remodeling, and I was back there looking at setbacks, and they actually applied for and got a 2-foot variance. But during that time period, I was in the backyard, and they had found shed antlers from a buck that, the day before, and their fence was 6 foot. And they say that the deer commonly jump into the backyard and then jump through the front yard from there as well. So again, I think what we're talking about is keeping it contiguous all the way through the gate and then past it a little bit, and then the terrain gets a little more challenging for a human, but not really for a deer. And so there'll be an opportunity to make sure that there is a passage through there.
Thank you, Bill. Maggie, did
Thank
that help?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay. Pete?
So a comment and a question. So the comment is we handed you a hot potato. And when we did, this room was full. So I'd just like to say congratulations, you're having a hard time drawing a crowd, which means y'all did an excellent job. The question that I do have, though, has to do with the engagement of, we're getting feedback, the engagement of the Citizens Advisory Committee. Can you explain a little bit how that group was engaged and and just briefly the conversations, and were they individually, were they as a group, and how did that work?
So there were 2 group meetings conducted here in this room where the Citizens Advisory Panel was invited to sit around the table, and we had an open discussion, short presentation and open discussion around these points here. We also had a site visit where we invited members of the advisory panel to walk the trail with us and got live feedback there. So there were a total of 3 direct interactions with the Citizens Advisory Panel. We selected the Citizens Advisory Panel from a survey that went out, or a questionnaire and survey, and initially got their feedback so that we could see whether they were for or against the proposal and kind of where their initial preferences were. And we ensured, out of the 19 applicants we had 17 that were either for or strongly for, 1 neutral, 1 opposed. We definitely selected the 1 neutral, 1 opposed, and then we spread it out geographically from there to ensure we had citywide representation. We also had bikers and walkers, different ages, things like that.
So of the 8 that were on the panel, did they all participate in the site visit and in the meetings that were held here?
We did not have all 8 at all 3 events, but we had a majority of them at each of the events. The first in-person one was the most attended. I believe everybody was present for that. I don't know how many came to the site visit. Most of them.
I think it was 6. I
6,
think we only missed
yeah.
2.
Yeah. And same for the last meeting. I believe it was 6 out of 8.
Conrad?
I just want to take some time to really thank you for this. This is work that it was a hot potato, so you had extra work here. And to make sure that community engagement was strong and across the board, and thank the committee and then all the citizens that participated in this. Really important to hear everybody's ideas or opinions. So thank you. And just to address the That's obviously my fence that was videoed up there. There's no problem with small creatures coming in. They come into my yard and tear it up all the time. I'm up at 5 o'clock, 5:30, having coffee, and I watch them do it. So, and deer can jump a 6 foot, they can jump an 8 foot, for hill country deer, but they can still jump. So I watch them do that too. So no worries on the animals as far as my anecdotal part of this.
Buddy?
Yeah, again, Chairman, thank y'all for all the work y'all have done. I know that it was a big undertaking. Only question I had was, what are the expectations of the committee? How soon, is this something that they want done immediately? I know that everybody discusses this hot potato, and the expectations that were originally given, was something, 2-3 years down the road. Is this something they want done immediately, or, I mean, what is the expectations that you gather on getting this done?
Well, I mean, I think the biggest thing here that I can speak to is probably the survey result, and that was that the majority, 2/3 of the respondents said that they would use the trail more if the improvement was made. So I think that speaks largely to the fact that the majority of residents, want this and would, increase their use of it. So I know it has to go through a budgeting process and things like that, but I believe there is a strong interest to move forward with this in a rapid manner.
Okay, thank you, buddy. Anybody else have any comments, questions that they want to extend before I get to close it out? Obviously, this is going to be something that comes up with goals and objectives, which will be taking place in May and through early June for City Council. And as far as anything that might be in a 12-month period, it may, and then to the extent that it gets extended, that would be up to future councils after that time period. You talked somewhat about kind of a consensus on planning and zoning, and what I'm reading out of this wasn't, your recommendation wasn't a consensus, it was unanimous from planning and zoning, is that correct?
That is correct. There was
Okay.
discussion of both the,
But everybody came to exactly the same point, and there weren't dissenters at the end of your discussion.
correct, the planning and commission vote was 8-0 for option B.
Okay. As we're talking about the erosion effect, I want to commend Aaron Alleman for our first effort at a trail system into the Salado Creek. Aaron was supported back 12 years ago, 11 years ago in his Eagle project to build an entrance, and by golly, we got a flood. And with that flood, all the fine work that the Boy Scouts did got washed out, which goes to the idea of permanency. And if we're going to do this, obviously, we want to do this right. Whatever decision-making process the council goes through, we are going to be relying, and I'm sure we're going to be coming back to planning and zoning for additional guidance, either thumbs up or thumbs down or timing considerations. So I want to thank you and all the members of the commissioners, all the commissioners, and I want to thank your lovely cohort who has joined us this evening for all of the fine work that y'all have done on this project and all the other projects that have been tasked to you by planning and zoning. Thank you very much, and y'all did a great job. Okay, brings us to item 8.2, discussion action, City of Chavano Park 70th and United States 250th anniversary celebration. Kristen is going to help me some on this. Thank you very much, Kristen. We've been talking about what the 50th anniversary was like for everybody except for Conrad because he was still in a diaper. But for the rest of us, we remember what the 60th, the 200th anniversary of the American Revolution was like. And we all have memories of it that we have carried through to today. With that said, this is an opportunity for us to leave those memories with the next generation of leaders and for the younger parents that are in our community, that they can look back 50 years from now at the 300th anniversary and say, golly, I was just so happy to be in Chavano Park. At the February meeting of City Council, we authorized an additional $25,000 to come forward for this. Kristen, because she is a good German, has gotten that number down to the total number of about $21,000. So it's just slightly above what we had already budgeted into this. There are a couple of really neat things that are in there. One of them is something that is a permanent marker that we would be putting on the exterior bathroom. It is a Liberty tree that we would ask our citizens to participate in painting, and then we would fire those ceramic tiles, and we would then place them, each tile. It's kind of like a mosaic, but each tile has its own place on the grid, and that would be very neat. Kristen, Bill, and I have been talking about the scheduling, and we are going to want to come back to council and talk about the actual scheduling for the day.
It will be here.
Pardon?
It's one of the slides.
Oh, okay. So Kristen, why don't you get us started?
Thank you, Mayor. I believe you covered all of this that we talked about. Y'all had provided additional funding, and it's only about $13,000 more that we're asking for instead of the full 25. We do have sponsors who will help pay for things, including the mural. And we're discussing providing anniversary items like hats and lapel pins. I believe y'all did hats for the 50th or the 60th, and so we're wanting to hand out things so residents have memorials of this big event. And we want to make sure we get everybody here, so we are discussing postcard invitations to be mailed to all residential houses. Next slide. As he mentioned, we'll have some new, we're proposing some new activities for the children, including inflatables, some sports they can play, a bubble party, so it's big bubbles, not just bubbles. And so that would include younger children or children who don't want to get fully wet, and then a foam party to extend the water fun for the children while it's cool and entertaining for them. Next slide. You did mention the Liberty tree, so we have about 350 kits. They are ready to start being delivered. The kit includes a 4x4 tile for everybody to paint, and the paint and instructions. So you can paint a solid color if that's the skill you have, or you can paint your own image, something that's going to go on the wall, and they will all be joined together with a few professional pictures to make up that lovely tree. And we're hoping to unveil it at the Independence Day event. So anybody who's interested in picking up a tile can let me know. And then we're going to work with some community focus groups to be able to do that. And we have 2 painting parties scheduled for May. So if you want to just come and paint here and get it done and leave it and not have to worry about getting it back to us, that will be in our May Roadrunner. For one of the days is a Wednesday and one of the days is a Saturday. Next slide, sir. And then as we discussed, there's some timeline options we're providing. On the left is option 1. This includes musicians. So we have a resident who has offered some of their friends to provide music for us, cello and a keyboard and a singer and stuff. So that would be a little more custom. Currently, we have a band that we've provided for the last dozen or so years. That's always gotten good results. And so that is option 2, is providing the band instead of the musician. So you can see in the color coding, the musicians would start on the left and they would play about 35 minutes. We have a singer for the national anthem, a playlist for the parade, and then the band wouldn't start until almost lunchtime, about 10:30. This year we are asking people to come and to provide a talent show for us. So I believe the community has a lot of talents with their children and grandchildren, and the adults can come and do little songs or skits. And so we have about 30 minutes blocked off for that, depending on how much response we get from the Roadrunner. And then the band would play again. So the band would only be playing on that yellow colors on the bottom left. Option 2 that we have is for the band to start and the band to play in the beginning. And then we can have the musicians accompany the national anthem and help with the parade is the other option before the band starts again, and then the talent show and the band. So those are the timeline options. Pretty similar to our usual events. This does include the Star Family ribbon cutting that y'all will discuss, and the mural unveiling before we provide the presentation of the winners. So, questions or something you'd like to add, Bill?
Thank you very much. What if Pete only has wooden nickels and doesn't have a penny to buy his ice cream cone. What, are we still gonna are we gonna take wooden nickels and pennies?
We can. We are trying to collect pennies as they are no longer being produced. So we can collect pennies. They will be recycled that day with the children, so they'll be able to pay for their ice cream, penny ice cream, and free watermelon slices. In addition to Republic is going to come and provide lunch for us. They're going to come and cook lunch for us. They have a big trailer. They like to participate in the community, and so they've asked to participate in more of our events. So they're
Wow.
going to come cook for us.
Congratulations on that, Bill.
So.
The only thing I would say and add, Mayor, is that we got a lot of moving parts here, and a lot of people have volunteered to do things, and we've kind of crammed things in here a bit. And as part of that, we're going to center all the activities on the pavilion so that you don't have activities at the pavilion, activities in front of City Hall, and working through that. So we're still looking at options 1 and 2 because maybe more is not better, and so we're trying to sort that out.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Maggie?
Thank you. On the tiles, I know you've got a pattern, I guess, for distribution. Could we hear a little bit more about how they will be distributed?
So I plan to reach out, we got some contacts to reach out to the senior citizens, the homes we have in town. I'm working with Blattman Elementary and working with some groups, Chavano Park Women and the Daughters of the American Revolution are all scheduled to have meetings to paint. We also will allow residents, but they do have to come and kind of sign a waiver. So it's very important that if an individual takes the kit, that they return it in 2 weeks because we would hate to have a blank spot.
Right.
So the tiles are color themed, and the paint that is provided for each tile, there are instructions. There's a QR code for a video. So it's pretty easy. You just paint it whatever you want, but you keep it in the color theme for it to be placed. Public Works will place it all before it gets shellacked or coated and put up.
Okay, oh, that sounds marvelous. I mean, like a real community event. And along with that, just from my input, I'm looking at the musicians that are citizens, as I understand it. No, they're not citizens. Oh, so they're volunteers.
Volunteers from a citizen. They're the family friends of a
Okay.
resident. I think they go to church together.
Well, that's good. I mean, it's somehow a citizen involvement. The band has always been good, especially with the older folks. They like to come and listen to the band, and some of it even dance. So if you work both of those in, I think that would be great. It looks wonderful.
Any other questions, comments?
Bill, I see that this is a non-action item. Are you looking for a consensus from council?
Well, if there was any thoughts on the band and the timelines, anything you thought, that might be helpful. Again, it's a work in progress. We got another month and a half to do this, but almost 2 months, but yeah.
It's not very long.
Maybe if we could send out the 2 options to the council members. We're going to be coming back together the second week in May, and we can have our input get more concrete at that point.
Yeah.
Okay?
The one thing on the tile, just to, if anyone's listening, if you looked at that picture, can we go back to the picture of the thing? It looks like a lot of those are solid blue, and some have blue and white. The instructions will tell somebody, for example, on the blue tile, they'll have 3 or 4 different shades of blue with maybe some white, and you can paint anything you want as long as 80% of it's blue. And so it's not going to be solid like that and nice. It's going to, you could have a fish inside an ocean scene, and it would be mostly blue. And so it's good. The amount of art is going to be just tremendous. Now, if push comes to shove and we don't have enough volunteers to take the 350, we could just paint it all blue, and it would look like that.
We're going to all
But
get one for
where the
midnight
white
painting.
is and the blue, it'll say 80% white with some blue, and the color kits that you have, the paint kits, have the right colors for that particular thing. And then the only thing I'd tell you is there's like 300 that have already been pre-painted by an artist, and you have to put them specifically, and that's what forms the tree and the roots. So a lot of those are already pre-formed and pre-painted. So it's going to be great, but it won't look clean like this.
And if some, well,
You're fine. Yeah.
okay, if they want to personalize it, like other than a fish in the ocean or something, put their initials or
Exactly.
date, that they can come
Yes.
back in 20 years and say,
Yes.
this is what I did.
Yeah.
You could sign your name or not sign your name. You could, if there's,
Okay.
he's gonna grab some of the sample printed tiles so you can see the printed
Okay.
tiles.
And is it going to be,
Sorry, Bill.
it's going to be placed on, toward,
On the bathroom, the outdoor bathroom, between the men's and between the two doors of the restrooms, there's a space that's adequate there, and it'll be right there.
okay. Any way we can make those men and ladies signs maybe a little smaller, so that it won't take away from how big is this? Is it
8 by 8,
8 by 8?
8 foot
Okay.
by
8
8
foot
foot.
by 8 foot.
Okay, just-
It's gonna be big.
It'll work.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
gonna be gorgeous.
that's good, okay. I'm just-
Okay. Kristen, thank you very much. Kristen's put a great amount of effort in this and creativity, and thank you very much for all of that. Brings us to item 8.3, discussion action. Consideration of naming the Chavano Park Municipal Trail System in honor of Lisa Starr Rosenstein. Lisa's one of ours, and the Stars are one of ours. The Stars have embraced the trail system for the municipal track and have already given us $17,000, which has gone a long way toward putting down the granite on the roughly 1 acre, 1 mile of trail system that's out here. We'd like to finish it off, and we'd like to do some things that are special with that. Bill and I have talked to the Stars. Bill has talked more than I have, and we have a commitment to make an additional 2 gifts, $15,000 this year, $15,000 in the next year. With the $15,000, we would be in a position to finish off the granite on the trails and improvements in that. With the additional 15, we've talked with the Stars about the possibility of putting in some type of water feature, like a stream or something that feels like a stream that would be serving the bees, the butterflies, and the wildlife that we have here in Chavano Park, that the water would continually recycle and would be calming, and we get to hear that as people could walk close and through the trail system. Those plans have not been solidified, and that actual continuation and additional improvements would be things that would happen probably in the second tranche of money. But the thought is that they have been such a nice and wonderful benefactor for the city and to the city in memory of their lovely daughter, that it would be fitting to provide some type of naming rights, say for a 10-year period of time, a 15-year period of time, to name that something that includes the name Lisa Starr Rosenstein, and they would customize the name subject to city council approval, that it's not something that we would find offensive from the standpoint of a name. And I'm hoping that council will say, yeah, Bill, let's go ahead and get this agreement done. It would be a signed agreement by the city manager and by the Starr family that is a commitment that says, yes, we're going to do A, B, and C, and y'all are going to do 2 things. Y'all are going to give us a name, and you're going to give us the tranches of money. Pete?
Yeah, Mayor, I'd like to make a motion. I make a motion to approve the naming the City of Chavano Park Municipal Track System in memory of Lisa Starr.
Okay, we have a motion from Pete. Do we have a second? We have a second from Conrad. I'm going to ask each one of you to amplify your motion to include on such terms as the city manager determines are appropriate which would be the money and the other things that would go with that. Is that a,
Yes, please include that in the motion as well.
Conrad? Okay.
Yes.
So the final motion would be to make a motion to approve the naming of the City of Chavano Park Municipal Trail System in memory of Lisa Starr on terms to be negotiated by the city manager. Is that clear?
Mr. Mayor, does that include the time period as well?
That would include the 2 tranches of timing. Yeah,
No, but for
for
a
Independence Day.
specific time,
Yeah,
10
the-
years, 15 year, whatever.
Yes, and that would include a naming of a time. Those are the terms that Bill is going to negotiate. Yeah, we certainly want to take it through the end of the Star's life, of David and Arlene. We want to make sure that we have named this at least through their lifetimes. You know, nothing is named forever, and this may be named forever, but we want to give them a guarantee of a time frame. Is that
Oh, yeah. No
okay?
problem.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign, the motion carries 4-0. Item 8.4, discussion action annual budget calendar. Brenda, just go to Kirsten's, you don't have, or just go to one of the mics. You don't have to get up and come over.
You gonna let me use yours? That's so sweet. All right, thank you, Mayor. So city staff has drafted the preliminary fiscal year 27 budget calendar, which allows council and staff to arrange their schedules for the required meetings over the next several months. Tonight, staff is requesting council consider and provide guidance on the proposed budget calendar meeting schedule, specifically approve the dates for the first 2 budget workshops currently planned for Wednesday, May 27th at 12 noon and Wednesday, June 17th at 12 noon. So at the first budget workshop, staff will present council with each department's draft goals and objectives for the upcoming fiscal year. Some of these will be service-related, some will be resource-related. Staff will plan to fully fund critical objectives. However, there may be instances where the funding of other objectives will be based upon the ability to operate within the projected revenues. Thus, planned objectives may be deferred to future years. This calendar provides for the City Council establishing overarching goals and objectives as you have done so in the past. Excuse me. Typically, these 8 goals established in previous years do not vary significantly, but the objectives do change as priorities and requirements evolve and objectives are accomplished. This is an important element of guidance provided to staff, but also those objectives that require fiscal funding must be included in the budget. Council assumptions developed early on assist staff in prioritizing and developing the budget. For an example, an assumption may be that employee compensation may rise by 3% or that medical insurance costs may rise by 10%. The actual rates may not be determined until after the city manager proposes the initial budget. So should council want to raise or lower the tax rate, the development of a target would be helpful. The ability to do this ultimately comes down to balancing services and resource requirements with projected revenues. Staff intends to present the budget as early as possible, so considering these certified tax rolls are not provided to the city until approximately July 25th, and the no new revenue, voter approval, and de minimis tax rates are not provided until after that date, presenting the city manager's budget is tentatively scheduled for Thursday, August 6th.
Okay, thank you. You said the 27th of May, and what was the other date?
June 17th?
Okay, on the June 17th, are there alternative dates that you were looking at?
Well, can we get from city council, I know that Alderman Miller said he's going to be out of town. When will you be in town?
So I'm out of town June the 12th through the 20th.
Is the 10th a date that's available to everybody? Perhaps.
Maybe. I'm good on the first one, but it's the second one. It's kind of up in the air, but I mean, I can make it work.
Okay. Okay, Pete, is the 10th a better date for you?
The 10th works for me.
Is that something, Bill, that you can work with? I'm asking, can you and your staff work with the 10th?
Yeah, I think we could do that. For sure. Go forward again. That's 2-week break there. You know, the focus of that is going to be council objectives. The benefits update may not be done by then. You know, we could break it up. If we didn't have everything accomplished the 10th, we could do a workshop the 22nd, which we don't currently have planned, before the city council meeting, and just to kind of break that up.
Well, we're going to pick that up in the very next one with the budget compensation review, and we'll have a committee that is going to be working with that number as well as the compensation number, Bill. So I don't know that we need to be briefed completely on the 10th on the employee benefits portion of that, unless you disagree with me.
Well, what I know is that there's a lot of things that have to be briefed, and you can't brief them all in one meeting. So we break it out because this has kind of worked. And so if we need to, what I'm saying is we can come in at 5:30 on the 22nd and do that workshop and pick up whatever we haven't done there. If we go to the next slide,
Yeah.
that shows you July. We have a budget workshop, 7 July, which becomes really important there. That's where your expense estimates are. And then the budget workshop, which is your final compensation and benefits, doesn't occur until the 27th. So again, this is the 27th is the primary, the final one, and we may not even have all that ironed out there. So there's plenty to do in all these workshops.
Okay. Okay, so.
And those are just target dates. We're not asking for any fidelity on the 7th or the 27th, but if you know you're not going to be here, let us know, and then that way we can begin to shape an alternate date for that as well.
Okay. And we do have flexibility that Bill and/or I can set special meetings for the budget workshop portion. Okay, so at this time, do I have a motion to approve the budget workshop dates of May 27th and June 10th?
So moved.
We have a motion from Pete. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Maggie. There being no discussion, all in favor say aye.
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 I have discussion.
Okay.
And since this is my last council meeting as an alderman, I'm really going to miss these budget sessions. The sandwiches have always been good. I mean, and the camaraderie and the thought process has been put into it. And I just want to say also, this is the best city council I have ever seen in the 20 years I've been here. And I have enjoyed being with all of you and the staff. All of our committees have just been great and in the progress of City Hall, and yay for the budget meetings. So,
Well, and my comment concerning that is, Maggie, there's nobody in this city, including the mayor, who has attended more budget workshop meetings than you. Just letting you know that.
Yeah.
Now, if I get to count Mary and me on both of my terms, I think we can beat you, but otherwise, no.
That's good.
You are number one. You have been number one. Thank you.
right.
Okay, so thank you for interrupting me. I apologize, and I
What?
turn to you for the procedural due process or the procedural point of order. So at this time, we have a motion to approve May the 27th and June the 10th. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. The motion carries 4-0. The next item is discussion action budget presentation and compensation committee. Buddy, you and Conrad have been working this. Buddy, I'm going to turn to you and kind of get some of your insight on what you think as far as the compensation committee. Y'all have been working together. You and Pete have worked the last couple of years, I think, on the compensation side of this. And I'm looking for your guidance on how you think that we ought to be working this.
Well, last year, Pete and I mean, there was a lot of work along with the staff on putting together a lot of data. And I think we succeeded in making sure that we were in the proper range as far as what our employees were getting paid for the city, and as to making sure that looking down the path to where everyone was receiving a fair wage, especially amongst other municipalities around us. So I think that part of the work was done. I know in working with Conrad on the efficiency side, which I think that's what will be on the agenda next meeting, next month, I think everybody will be quite surprised that the staff did tremendous work on making sure each department is being run properly and efficiently and has the best interests of the citizens as far as the application and use of funds. I would like to see us not put together a budget committee, compensation review committee yet until we go through that presentation, because I feel that the only thing that will be missing will be whether or not the cost of living, the COLA increase, the numbers on health insurance, workman's comp, and then what the steps are going to look like.
Okay.
I know that we've discussed the possibility of a review, which is quite expensive, and I don't think it's necessary, spending the $20,000, to find out whether or not we're paying people properly, because I think everybody's being paid properly. It's just whether or not we're in sync, or I think that as far as cost of living, I think the current projections are from 3% to 3.5% this upcoming year. At least that's what everybody's projection. Conrad can always step in
Okay.
and tell me.
That's great. And before I entertain a motion to postpone consideration until the next regular council meeting, does anybody have anything that they'd like to add to what Buddy was just saying? Pete?
Yeah, so I totally agree with what Buddy's saying, but to me, as I look at the effort of the optimization and I look at the compensation, the two almost go hand in hand. It's a continuation. And to me, it would make sense to, for the compensation committee to be the same people that are doing the optimization, so they can coordinate all that, and there doesn't have to be kind of almost a regurgitation of a lot of the information on the optimization.
Okay. So at this time, Buddy, anybody else have a comment before I entertain a motion to postpone consideration until the next regular city council meeting in Chavano Park? Okay, no things. Buddy, do you have a motion to postpone consideration?
Yeah, I'd like to
until
make a
next-
motion to postpone the consideration for the budget compensation review till the next meeting.
Okay, we have a motion from Buddy. Does that have a second? We have a second from Conrad on the motion to postpone. That stops all debate. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. The motion carries 4-0. Okay, brings us to item 8.6, discussion action. The establishment of 2 beehives to support the city's pollination initiatives, enhance the ecological value of the municipal tract, provide educational opportunities for residents, and further Chavano Park's commitment as a Bee City USA community. Pete?
All right, so back on January the 26th, the council voted unanimously to designate Chavano Park as the Bee City USA. And we did that because we recognize the importance of bees and the importance that they play in our community. Okay. So this is a motion to establish 2 beehives within Chavano Park. And I always think it's important is to understand what the objectives are. So I believe that there's 3 objectives to why we're doing this. The first one has to do with advancing Chavano Park's Bee City USA commitment. So as part of the Bee City USA, they emphasize that we create habitats, that we do public education, and that we have a long-term stewardship for the bees. So at the end of the year, when we have to do an annual report, this helps us build that annual report. The second part of this, or the second reason, the objective that you do this, is the education of the community and the engagement benefits. So it has a, am I hearing the buzzing of the bees? We're getting a lot of feedback. Is the air conditioner? Okay. So the second part is the education on the community engagement benefits. So it allows us kind of a platform to engage the community. And the last part is, or the third reason, is it really helps the environment. I mean, I guess I didn't realize how much the bees within the city help our environment and pollination. So it's important. Okay, let's go to the next slide. The other importance of it is, we've established, or the women's, Chavano Park women have established kind of the pollination garden, and we approve that. But without the bees, the pollination garden doesn't do a lot, so you have to have the two in combination. So again, it's the importance to act locally, and it's the importance that we need bees within our community to do pollinate the flowers and to make that all happen. Okay, let's go to the next one. All right, so ensuring success. I think that there's 3 points that come into play when you're ensuring success. The first is develop an understanding. So develop a knowledge about the beekeeping fundamentals and the safety considerations and the seasonal needs and kind of the best practices on how you maintain bees. And so Bill and I actually attended a multi-day course on beekeeping, which familiarized us a little bit more on, what bees are all about and how you handle the bees and the risks associated. So we understand all that. And although we haven't received our final grades, I'm hoping for a B. So this.
Hope springs eternal.
I think Bill is going to graduate magna cum laude from the class, so he's on top of it. So the second part is the resources that you have available. And one of the things that we do have is we have a mentor within Chavano Park that will help us. Her name is Heather Wiltz, and she has agreed that if we do this, that she will help us get started and get set up and making sure that we're successful. And then the last scenario is really making sure you have an operational framework, and that's kind of the outline of what you're going to do and how you're going to maintain this. Okay, let's go to the next one. All right, so kind of to sum it all down, this is really to install multiple beehives in order as a forward-looking investment to making sure that we're a sound Chavano Park Bee City, USA. And again, this established is a visible sign of our commitment to this effort. So with that, I'd like to make a motion, and the motion is I move that the city of Chavano Park approve the establishment of 2 beehives, security fencing, signage, promotional and educational material at the cost not to exceed $4,800 and funding to support the city council's commitment to Bee City, USA.
Okay, do we have a second? We have a second. Motion from Pete, second from Maggie. I would ask that, Pete, you clarify where this $4,800 is going to come from on your motion? Where are you going to get the money?
I've got that taken care of. What do we say, the beautification fund, is that right, Brenda? What do we say? Yeah, it was the tree and beautification fund.
Okay, I just wanted to,
What was the answer?
The tree and beautification fund.
Beautification fund.
okay, so you have a motion and the funds would come from the tree and beautification fund. Okay, we're now open for discussion. Conrad?
So I appreciate you got to have the pollinators to pollinate the flowers. It makes perfect sense, right? The citizen Heather Wilk has a deep knowledge of this subject area. It's a hobby, and she's been doing this for years. So rather than just have one opinion, there's two. And I have engaged with her up here with the Arbor Day celebration, and she truly has a deep knowledge of this and will be excellent, bring a lot of value to this.
Okay. Anybody else?
Well, I think it's a grand idea, and in keeping with what we like to promote our city as being, country wonders, and that's another one of our wonders. So I think it's a great idea. And where will these hives be located?
The hives are going to be in the municipal tract here near the water well. It'll be about, it's about 100 yards from the edge of this forest here. And we've selected an open site. Heather came out there. We actually had 3 sites for her to look, 2 or 3 sites to look for. She picked one. We've done some improvements of that site. It'll be, there'll be some perimeter fencing that will get established. And the bees are scheduled, subject to your approval, Wednesday morning. And the other thing I would say is that
This week?
this week.
This week? Wow.
And so we're actually going to, we got a pretty good deal on this, buy a large a box with 10 panels, and the starter kit of bees of about 5,000 bees will be in there with 1 queen. And there'll be 2 boxes, $400 each. And I think Pete's got his bee suit. Mine came in the mail today along with my gloves. And I will also make notion that I took the Texas Extension Service AgriLife beekeeping service on my personal time. I took leave so that it wouldn't interfere, so there'd be no conflict of interest there.
So you're the bee dads. That's good. Oh, wow.
Does that mean that y'all from BDI? Because BDI is right by Texas A&M. And did that have anything to do with this? Okay, no. This is consistent with being a Scenic City USA, a Tree City USA, and a National Wildlife Federation certified community. As far as our National Wildlife Federation standing, we're coming up on having to go out to all of our community members and remind them that after 15 years, I think they have to recertify their gardens. And so we need to get out there and start recertifying. This project will, in fact, give us additional points as far as how many citizens we need to engage. I think I engaged about 80, 85 people of the 100 and something that have signed up for National Wildlife Federation. So this is a really great deal. Second thing, by comparison to Scenic City and Tree City USA, all of these things have cost. And every one of them has an implementation cost. And $4,800 is a very low number. Now, Bill was telling me that, that in a very active hive, not a beginner hive, but that in an active hive that you would have like 100,000 bees.
So the hives that we went to this weekend that we opened up had 60,000 bees in it.
60,000. So,
And then they keep, over the summer, they'll keep increasing, and then there'll be a decline, and then it ebbs and flows.
okay. Now, they're not going to count toward our population, but will they be taxpayers?
Only if we harvest the honey.
Only if we harvest the honey. What are you going to do with honey if you don't harvest it?
So one of the things that we learned is on the first year is you actually leave the honey within the hive because the bees need to develop their hive and get through the winter. So it's not until multiple years after that that you start developing the honey. But what would we do with it if we harvested honey? We'd
We would
use
give
it
it
for
to the
promotional,
Rutland Bear.
promotion and educational reasons. That's what we
Okay,
do.
well, that's better than making mead out of it, because I don't know that we want to be making mead as a city. Probably a bad idea. Okay, so we have a motion and a second that Chavano Park requests the establishment of 2 beehives in the municipal tract, security fencing, signage, promotional educational materials, and $4,800 in funding from the Tree and Beautification Fund to support the city council's commitment to Bee City USA. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. The motion carries 4-0. Brings us to item 8.7. Discussion consideration for calling a special meeting to canvass the May election and/or reschedule the regular city council meeting. Bill, historically, we have rescheduled the regular city council meeting. Is there an impediment to doing that? Because it normally moves the meeting forward about 2 weeks.
No.
Okay. Kristen, I'll turn this over to you. What date are we recommending?
So we are recommending moving it up 2 weeks to May 11th.
May
Okay. Has everybody?
May 11th, 11.
Has everybody looked at their calendars? We're required to have the meeting within a certain period of time.
Yes, sir, the canvassing period is between the 5th and the 13th of May.
And so Monday would be the date that we would typically have chosen because we hold our council meetings on Monday.
And you-
Do we have a motion to reschedule the May 2026 regular city council meeting to May the 11th?
So moved.
We have a motion from Pete. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Conrad. There being no discussion, all in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. The motion carries 4-0. It brings us to item 8.8, discussion action annual review of the city manager, possible executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551074, personnel matters review. Historically, we would at this point entertain a motion to retire to executive session. Do we have a motion to retire to executive session?
So move.
We have a motion from Maggie. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Buddy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The motion is 4-0. It is now 8:12. We are retiring to executive session. It is now 8:49. We're returning from executive session held pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551074, personnel matters review. No decisions were made, no votes were taken. Now brings us to item number 9. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Buddy has made a motion to
Second.
adjourn. Pete has seconded the motion. All in favor, say aye.
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 We are adjourned.